Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Contemporary Issues Adult Sunday School class, where we get schooled on everything going on in America today. And yes, we do. We have all the answers here for us.
I will.
And we're paying attention. Thank you, Don. And we are pleased today to have Jeff Riley back with us to talk about frustration with the world affairs and American politics. So what can we do? Jeff was just saying there have been a lot of articles and columns lately on this, of course. You know, what can you do besides protest or write your congressman? And there are a lot of other things to do. Shut off the news, go into denial. Maybe that works too. That's right. So we'll have a good discussion on that today. But first, our usual announcements. Zoomers, welcome and nice to have you. Please mute yourself in the lower left corner of your screen when you're not talking. And we are recording this for future playback on YouTube for those who can't be here today and want to watch later. And when you share your opinions, which we hope you do, please be kind to all politicians and speakers. And this is not the place really to air our grievances against any particular politicians, though we may have deep-seated reasons to do so. Come on in. We've still got more room.
Gonna have a class of bloody tongues.
That's right. We have a good turnout today. Okay, other announcements. We have a August 31 potluck dinner. And Ron and Alice, do you want to say anything else about it?
So sign up sheet going around. Yeah, I go, please sign up.
On the sign up sheet for what you say.
Yeah, but that's your leg.
Here's
What you're supposed to bring. Okay, we will do that too. Okay, and then my wife wants to say a bit about the women's retreat coming up.
The women are having a retreat.
No, we don't.
Okay, I'm sorry. We're going on a retreat this year again, and for those of you that have gone, it's the same retreat center, which is south of here, I remember Black Forest area. Anyway, it's October 10, 11, 12, Friday through Sunday. And I think the cost is gonna be around $225, and that's for 2 nights lodging and 5 meals. So, it's a beautiful area and we always have a wonderful time. So I'm not sure, I think within the next week enrollment will start up, or registration will start up. So it's usually a lot of younger women, so, you know, it's good for us too. So just, come.
Okay. The women's annual retreat. Okay, any other announcements? Things going on? Yes, Frank.
I'd like to host the potato party this coming Friday. If you'd like an invitation, please see me.
Okay.
Put you on our distribution list.
Potato party at Frank's house. Yes, Friday night. Thank you, Frank. Okay. Okay, with that, yes, Larry, go ahead.
I'm teaching AARP driver safety directly across the hall next Saturday, 8:45 to 1. Get a discount on your car insurance. And also learn how to drive more safely.
That's a good idea. Yes. Okay. Very good. Any first-time visitors? We just want to welcome you. We won't make over you, but if not, I thought everybody's here. Okay. Very good. Jeff Riley was with us a couple months ago and did a wonderful presentation on the library system. And he is the former executive director of the Denver Public Library Friends Foundation for many years. And he was also in his career chief development officer of American Red Cross and vice president of development for the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. Maybe someday you'll give us a presentation on that. We would love to hear about that too. But this is a great topic, and so please welcome Jeff Riley.
Thank you very much. I see many familiar faces and it's nice to see everyone here today. I titled this "What to Do," And it's just something that kind of came to my mind as I was visiting with people. And if we can go to slide 2, Steve.
Mhm.
I have observed, and I think most everyone here has observed, that there's a lot happening that's affecting people's outlook. And some people are thrilled. They are.
Yeah.
And some people are not thrilled. They are not. And I just had this thought that there was something that could be done to affect one's outlook. And so this is a very layman's presentation. I'm not a psychologist, but I wrote an article about this actually, and I did not get it published, at least not yet. And I shared that with Steve. And Steve said, "Oh, well, this should be a presentation of my class." I said, "You have got to be kidding me." But then I saw him play the guitar and sing on Facebook. And I thought, "Boy, I better do what this guy asks me to do." So I did that. But one of my theories is that perspective can help. One of them is, I'm gonna share a little bit about a personal experience that I had. I think all of us have had a personal experience of some sort about something. Some of it may be a lot related to what's happening in the world today, but it could be something else. And I just think I want to give you some perspective on myself. And then I do have developed this presentation to kind of be open and inclusive of all sides. So I have a sense for
Great.
how this audience feels. I know how I feel, but I also want to recognize how others feel
Good.
and what their perspectives are. So I have to start with a little bit of a poll. There's a scale you can use. It's from 1 to 10. And 10 would be, I feel pretty wonderful about how things are going today. In fact, I couldn't possibly feel more wonderful. That's a 10. A 1 is there is nothing good happening and there is no hope for the world based on world affairs today. So I'm going to poll in groups. So I'm going to ask for how many of you would give yourself that rating of a 1 or a 2 or a 3. Okay. All right. Say about a third of the audience, maybe. How many of you would give a 4, 5, or 6? Okay, a little bit more in the middle. And how many would give yourselves an 7, 8, 9, or 10? Okay, a few. Thank you. It's good to know where the audience sits from when you're talking, so I appreciate that. We can go to the, well, I already talked about that, so we can go on. Next slide, please. So on this idea that there's a lot going on, I think I've already referenced this: feeling hopeless, feeling like celebrating, feeling mixed, and I'm going to highlight a few things. In international affairs, we've got Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, China, and more. On the economy, we've got tariffs, interest rates, volatile investment markets, stuff going on with the Federal Reserve. On the next slide, on government, we've got the federal departments of state, education, interior, health, justice, finance, and parks. And I'm not even sure that includes all of them. And then there are layoffs at the federal government level, and that's may likely trickle down. We have a large deficit. We've talked about that in this class before. And in Colorado, the headlines have been the state needs to cut $1 billion out of its budget.
Yeah.
Which is going to affect state services. For me, I know the IMLS was cut, and that's a group that funds museums and libraries out of the federal government. On the health front, we've got measles. I saw a headline, more measles today than there have been in 50 years, I think. And of course, vaccines, there's some controversy about vaccines.
There is.
It's hard to believe it. No, that stuff that's not included: climate change, mass casualty events, that deal in Boulder with that guy throwing bombs at people, and shootings in Atlanta and in at the CDC. And that's just recently, exactly. And one thing I haven't mentioned yet is immigration. So there's a lot going on. And I think my my thinking is that there seems to be more going on than we're accustomed to. And so this is kind of a newer experience for us. I don't have any empirical evidence to say this is true, but I have the sense that that's the case. On the next slide, I just had a little bit of fun. I said here headlines can tell several stories. And US measles hit highest level in 33 years, the CDC reports. That's from NPR.
What?
What's NPR? Yeah.
Corporation for Public Broadcasting and funder of National Public Radio and PBS says it will end operations within months after federal budget cuts. So here's a quote from NPR. Here's a quote from CBS. And now the New York Times is reporting the Late Show with Stephen Colbert is being canceled by CBS. So we've got these media stories, and I just said headlines can tell several stories, and it's an interesting time. On the next slide, suggest that there are multiple realities, and there are folks, and I've referenced this, who believe that the U.S. and the world are on the right path, and there are folks who believe that the U.S. and the world are on the wrong path, and there's a lot of people that everything in between, and I have a little bit of a philosophy that I learned through my business career, that no matter how good things are, they can be better. And that's designed to keep you humble. And no matter how bad things are, they could be worse. And that's to keep you from thinking you're at the end. You're not at the end. And I just think that's a little bit of my perspective that I offer, just as something to think about a little bit.
Jim has a question.
Yes.
Australians in the past have told me they look forward to the United States for leadership. Do you think the Western countries still look to us for leadership? Are they satisfied with it or not?
For those that can't hear, Jim said, does the rest of the world still look to the US for leadership? Western countries especially.
You know, I can't really say, I don't again have empirical evidence about a survey that was done or something like that. But I certainly think the headline suggests that the US is losing its position in as a world leader. And that has to do with maybe trade and defense and many things. Yep. But again, there are people that do think we're on the right path and we should not be doing some of the things we've historically done. And I saw your reference, Jeff, to Portugal, and I had this in my presentation. You know, what can we do? So the title of this presentation is what to do, right? And we could protest. How many of you have been to a protest? Wow. I suspected as much. We could write elected officials in support of or against government activities. Anybody writing letters to, okay, something to do? We could crawl into a hole. Several hands going up for that.
I'm digging.
As Jeff Klaus referenced, we could move to Portugal. Or no matter where we stand, we could do something else. And I have a little chart here that I know many of you have seen, and many of you may be much more expert about this than I am. But a guy named Maslow many years ago developed a hierarchy of human need. And it's been criticized because his theory was that it was linear. You had to have the first one to get to the second one, or the second one to get to the third one. The criticism is that it's not linear. I won't comment on whether it's good or not, but for the sake of today, my theory is that because of either your support of, and you're not sure what the causes of it are per se, possibly, or if you're very concerned about what's happening, you're dropping down on Maslow's hierarchy. And you're more worried about safety and security than you were before. And so that's the theory. It's not rocket science. I had an experience, I said I'd share this. My daughter was a student at Arapahoe High School when the Arapahoe High School shooting occurred many years ago. I suspect many of you know about that, but I don't know that all do. And at that time, I experienced a big drop on Maslow's hierarchy. Because my daughter was at the school, she was not actively involved, she didn't see anything happen, but it was very traumatizing. And we dropped down to that safety and security focus and felt like we had very little sense of control and a very limited sense of understanding. How many people feel like they have a very limited sense of control and a very limited sense of understanding due to what's happening in the world today? So I'm not comparing one experience or events to another necessarily, but I'm saying both of these experiences have this effect on kind of our outlook. And the next slide is about a concept called agency. I'm presuming that many of you may have heard of agency, but it's the sense of control you feel in your life. It's your capacity to influence your own thoughts and behavior and have faith in your ability to handle a wide range of tasks and situations. And no agency can cause you to drop down on Maslow's hierarchy. So my daughter had this experience. I didn't feel like I had any agency over a shooting that happened at her high school one day, and that dropped me down. And my theory on the people who I interact with a lot, you just have friends and family and folks you talk to and visit with. And I do have a sense that there's a lot of feeling of no agency about what's going on in the world today. So here's the punchline, if you're waiting for it. It's not rocket science again. I told Steve this is such a simple idea that I'm not sure it's worthy of a presentation, but there it is. My thought is to do something good. And so I came back from a holiday and I was upset about some things happening. And so I made a donation to a cause I care about. It actually made me feel better. I don't usually support that organization, but I thought I'd like to support them. I'd like to do something good. And I made that gift. It made me feel better. I think when this premise of doing something good in the face of adversity or success can help one move higher on Maslow's hierarchy. And it doesn't, this gift that I made didn't make the wrong thing right that I was concerned about, but it did help me feel better about it. So it's not going to make the wrong thing right, but it is a psychological benefit that I think you get. And I think, yeah, go ahead.
Probably the same for going to protest too. Those of you that went to protest, did you feel better about yourself and the issue? Tom, go ahead. Tom?
Joyous.
You felt joyous?
Yes.
Good.
Yes,
Yeah,
in the middle
Rachel.
there.
Also, very helpful of those protests to see that I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people that felt that way.
Yeah.
And then you start to make those connections, even if they're light connections, you never see those people again, but you come together as a community. So there's some goodness there.
Jeff?
I think psychologically, just doing anything helps you sort of kind of unfreeze when you get stuck with a feeling of no agency. Just doing something gives you the sense that you can do something and you are doing something, but even if it's just normal day-to-day life.
Absolutely.
But doing something good makes really clear sense.
Great.
To dovetail on what Jeff just said, I'm reluctant to say anything because I'm from Iowa and I'm afraid it might sound like I'm tooting my own horn. But I bought a stove for a friend of mine and for his family in Nicaragua because mom was having to cook over a wood fire and dad had to take long trips to get the wood. And so I bought the stove while I was down there celebrating the wedding of one of the kids that I sponsored, so. Buying that stove made me feel
Yeah.
like I had some agency over my life.
Yeah. Betty's mom felt really good too.
What kind of stove was it?
It was a 4 burner with an oven, and and the brand name was Maybe, M-A-B-E, which it turns out, maybe it'll work. It turns out 48% of that company is owned by GE, so I'm hoping that it's reliable.
They should have stoves where you
It's
could have
gas.
fire on the side.
So they have a propane tank.
This was a gas, yeah.
Propane, his was propane. Larry,
I spent 41 years with, as an adult leader, but never a scoutmaster with the scouting movement. And their motto is do a good turn daily. So
Yeah.
every day I look for that opportunity.
I thought it was be prepared.
Well, there's,
Be prepared to do a good.
there's two of them, and I don't know which one is the motto and which one is the slogan.
very genius.
Yeah, just picking up on that, being wide awake to all the kindness, good things that are happening around us on a daily basis. Just being wide awake because they are happening.
Yep. Looking for the good. So, artificial intelligence is a big deal today. I said, I'm gonna ask AI what's important about doing good. So I proposed 2 questions. I went to ChatGPT. I typed in, why is it good to do something good if you're suffering adversity? And it gave me an answer. And then I also typed in, why is it good to do something good when you're feeling success? And it gave me an answer. And there they are. Doing something good when experiencing success. You can see it there, fosters humility.
No, we can't.
Yeah, they can't read it in the back. Go ahead and read it.
Can
So
you enlarge it?
what does AI have to say about doing something good when experiencing success? It fosters humility and counters arrogance. It benefits mental and physical
You can do it.
well-being. It inspires and empowers others. It strengthens social connections and fosters community. And it provides a sense of purpose and fulfillment.
Yeah.
That's when you're experiencing success. Because somebody say, oh, I'm experiencing success, I don't need to do anything good. That's not the theory here. Doing something good when experiencing adversity. It's interesting, you'll see this similar, I mean, these threads run together. It's actually not interesting, it's like kind of what you'd expect. Fosters a sense of purpose and meaning, shifts perspective, and promotes positive emotions, builds and strengthens social connections, cultivates resilience and coping skills, and enhances personal growth and character development. So if we're gonna start to rely on AI for the answers to everything, that's not bad. It was kind of fun to try that. I'm gonna end a little bit early, and I have a little bit of an exercise that we can do together, but I'm also open to lots of questions. I said here to tie things together, I remember this John Wesley quote. Everybody know who John Wesley is? I don't want to put pressure on people. Kind of a principal character in the development of Methodism.
See, so.
Do all the good you can by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. Do all the good. So this is not a new idea. I think hopefully this brings it home a little bit. I had here on the next slide that doing something good. I said here, consider a cause greater than your own self-interest. That's actually a quote from John McCain. And I said here, consider something in addition to or different from what you normally do. And then I have your examples. So it's 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. Form a little group with the 2 or 3 people around you. We're gonna take 5 minutes and think about what is something good you can do. And then we're gonna report back out. So I'll start the timer and Could be with 2 people, or could be with 5 people, or could be with yourself conceivably, if you're feeling like you want to be alone today. Yes.
I don't hear well either. Hearing.
Their jobs, they're saying. You are. I find it to be really work on that. They can hear the news. Well, so you can.
We'll give you time to wrap up. Wrap up your suggestion. Wrapping up, and we're gonna ask our Zoom attendees first if they would like to share anything to what
The
they.
Canadian perspective.
Yes, give a Canadian perspective here. If there's anything that you want to do to make feel better, we would sure appreciate your sharing. Okay, we are ready. We're gonna go to Zoom. Would anybody on Zoom like to share? Susan, we would love to hear from Susan.
Well, it's not necessarily a personal, although I have lots of opportunities here to do lots of good stuff because that's the ethic of the country. But one thing that is built into the country is that all high school students have to do X number of hours of community service before they can graduate. And it's like, it's a significant amount. It's like, 150 hours or something by the time they finish their senior year. So it's something that's just built into the culture up here.
For those of us here that don't know, Susan's in Toronto, Canada, and she grew up here in Denver. So she joins us every week. Very good, Susan, that's a great idea. Anybody else want to share from Zoom? Okay, let's go to our classmates here. Go ahead, anybody in your group want to share? In the groups here. We forgot to ask for a group spokesman.
Given the enthusiasm to share your thoughts, maybe we'll roll around the room in this order to the halfway point, and then I'll go over here and roll around the room to that point. But wait, I've got someone.
Well, I'm on this side.
Great. Let's start over there then.
One of the comments in our little discussion was about how the worst part of us comes out when we do something, rather than the best part of us. A lot of people just are so
Share more about that.
angry. It doesn't make sense.
No,
What
explain.
angry people are doing, they keep doing angry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so if you started.
I mean, the environment brings out the worst in us. I mean, we are encouraged to be the worst version of ourselves rather than the best version of ourselves. There's an emphasis on division, on hate, and the other, rather than encouraging as a country and as a church, whatever, to be the best person to be the best version of ourselves. And that's what I see our country being, is we are collectively being the worst version of ourselves rather than the best version. So.
Thank you.
May I share a differing opinion?
Sure.
I don't know where our microphones are.
You don't need one.
I think I understand where you're coming from. However, I believe that especially, okay, I'm gonna go to the woman thing, especially as women, we're encouraged to always make things right and never, okay, thank you. No, I don't have full turn on. Always, we're encouraged. We're encouraged.
You can go ahead without it.
You've got a good one. We are encouraged as women to be peacemakers, selfless, caretakers, don't make waves. And I think that idea of being your best self in a public place or within a political arena can be tremendously devaluing. Why do we have to be our best selves? Can't we be offering our opinions and being someone who calls truth to power without being called being, less than, and we're not being nice, so that.
I don't mean it to be acquiescence. It's not like we're acquiescents. We are standing up for your rights, but in a positive way rather than a negative way. You can really stand up for your rights and what you believe to be true, but rather than attacking someone else, you can do it more effectively. And that's what I'm saying. I agree with you.
It's about your strategy.
Yeah, we shouldn't be acquiescent and be timid about what we're doing. It's just the emotion behind it that is the negative emotion rather than the positive emotion.
Yeah.
Good exchange, thank you. I'm reverting back to my form if it will work. Anything that you'd like to share from this group over here? Yes,
Well, we talked about a number of things that people have done that made them feel good about what they're doing and made a change. And Larry had a very good example of what he does ordinarily, which is teaching adults safety through their driving skills and everything. And Jim, yes, Jim has done a number of things as well.
I'm glad you remembered my name.
No.
Way to go, Tim.
And we have, this Jim and I have traveled around the world and stayed in people's homes with an organization that we believe in, that was started by President Carter, called Friendship for It. And we believe that friendship is a great force in the world. And so you go to stay with all these people. We've stayed in many different kinds of situations. Some in some neighborhoods in some countries that we wouldn't stay in or even go to in this country. So we've had an eye-opening experience for all those many years that we spent. And it encourages you to know more about the country that you visited, the people there, and you're more aware and wide awake about what maybe we should do more of in this country to help those people. So it's really been a wonderful experience for us.
Amen.
thanks for sharing. I can't imagine the confusion of a group having two gyms in it. All right,
I took Larry's class earlier this summer and I just.
Give her the microphone, please.
Thank you. I took Larry's class earlier this summer and saved several $100s over the next 3 years on my insurance. So I highly recommend it for everybody else too. And I was gonna mention, my third grandchild will graduate from Valor High School this year. And they have a requirement, I want to say 150, 160 hours of volunteer time before graduation from Valor. I think that's really important. Thank
so
you.
there are good things happening in the world.
There are good things happening.
Susan?
Well, we have a grandchild, actually a granddaughter at Valor. Not only do they have a high number of community service hours that are required, but they can, if their grades are such and they are interviewed, they go on mission trips all over the world. And our granddaughter, who's just a freshman, she just went this summer to Alaska and worked with indigenous children and teaching sports and crafts, and also helped at a camp with, repair and painting and taking care of things, and just had a wonderful experience. So that's something good going on.
Thank you. Anything over here that you want to share? I have these groups not well defined, but yeah.
Well, we picked up on the sermon about loneliness, the number of people who are lonely, and we thought we ought to be looking for the people in our neighborhood who are lonely and try to help them make contact with others.
I love that idea. Yeah. Keep going around to the back here.
No.
Just as you desire. No pressure here.
She changed her mind.
Okay, we talked about, the political of some, but I wanted to bring it to a more personal level. A neighbor that we've been neighbors for quite a while, but I don't know her real well. We've never really sat down. It's always been over the fence type thing. And she is dealing with cancer. And I saw her husband out and I asked him, he said, I think she would really enjoy a visit. And so I knocked on the door with cookies and said, are you up to a visit? And we just sat and had a very nice visit with each other for about an hour. And it made me feel very good. It made her, and we laughed. We did a lot of laughing because we're close to the same age, so we were laughing about the same types of things. Anyway, but and a very, you know, it doesn't have to be a big, you know, big thing to do, small things matter.
Absolutely.
Right.
Anything further back? Jeff, you were about ready to talk maybe?
I was just gonna share that our group talked about many of the same kind of things that everybody else says. But we even mentioned taking cookies to neighbors and doing small acts of kindness. Just the ordinary things that need to be done.
That's a great idea.
And that would include looking after one's family members. Those who are closest to it.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna switch because I said I would. Over here.
Norma.
We talked about things that we do. For example, donating to very good causes and being able to, like Eric did, something that we can touch and feel that's close to home, that somehow they're both great, but somehow that feels better when it's a more personal thing. There's room for everything.
Good, thank you.
An experience that Steve and I had back in, Johnson County when we lived there. Can you hear me? Okay, we went, we went to, down to, the shelter to have a meal with, the homeless and, you know, we did the usual thing. We got in the back there and served the meal and everything and, but one by one, each one of us finished our jobs and then went out and sat at the table with the people that we were serving and had conversations with those people. And I told Steve later, I said, that way I felt like I was getting into their world a little bit and, you know, having real communication with them instead of just doing something that was very easy. And that was showing up and just fixing a meal and serving people. But when you take the time to sit down and really talk to them, and we learned some very, very interesting things from some very interesting people. And I don't know, it made me feel better about what I was doing and serving as opposed to just being down there and them looking at us going, oh, well, they're gonna serve us a meal, then they're gonna go home to their nice homes where they have everything and we go back out on the streets where we have nothing.
And they don't really want to talk to us.
And they don't really want to talk because it's like we're patronizing them, you know, instead of really serving them and wanting to be friends with them. So once we flipped it and got to know the people we were serving, it made us more humble about where they were coming from and not where we were coming from. It made a big difference.
Thank you. Over here,
Carol.
All of this says to me that we're developing a sense of community.
Yeah.
And that's what's so important.
Okay,
that's better.
it is developing a sense of community, and these are all examples of how we can develop a sense of community, and that's gonna save this country, personally, I feel. But what I really like is John Lewis and Good Trouble. And I love that whole philosophy. It's nonviolent. You can protest, you can be loud, you can say what you mean, and yet it's good trouble. You know, it's a kind of thing that has an effect on people. And when we protested and I was involved in a couple, the sense of community was awesome. You know, to be with people that wanted to be together for a purpose. And I just thought it was very invigorating and something that I think of that when I see what happens. Like I saw the news this morning and talked about Ukraine losing land and stuff like that. But I think of these other, you know, the other things that we have done, even though they're small things, they're not big things, they're small things. But they are done with a sense of purpose and with a sense of love. And I think that's really important.
Thank you. Directly behind you, maybe?
Okay. Right.
Good morning, only because I got bored and started taking notes, so you're gonna have to suffer through me trying to read my own notes, but our topics here were to do things such as to donate. We mentioned the St. Andrew kitchen that is part of what was formerly East Elementary in Littleton, to get out and volunteer. Also to visit people, especially those that are lonely and maybe suffering from Alzheimer's and watching losing their brains. And to other topic was to listen to the sermon and follow. Shocking. Do something good and be grateful for Steve hosting these meetings.
Yes.
Well, this story is a story about part of my family that happened about.
We're gonna get the microphone for you, sorry. There we go.
It happened about two weeks ago.
Okay.
And my closer, okay, all right.
Good.
Thank you,
And it happened 2 weeks ago, and they live, my nephew's son and his family live on a ranch in Wyoming. They have two children, one was just born and then a little girl. And my nephew's son was out in the pasture, wherever he was, I don't remember what they said, but he saw a plume of smoke coming up toward where they live. So he called his wife, and she had been taking a nap with her children because the baby keeps them up all night. And he just called her and said, "Is there a fire near us?" She woke up with the smoke. She grabbed her kids out of the house. And by that time, the back of the house had been already, the wind blew up the wire and it fell into the ground and just burned all the brush and that area, which is very dry there. But she got them out. She got them out just by the nick of the time. And he rushed home and but it burned to the ground. They lost everything. Absolutely, there wasn't a thing left in that house, but it was an older home and it probably, had some age to it too. So they actually have a mother that lived close by and she housed them. She had a small house, but they were looking for places to live. They didn't have much choice by just and there was no place that they were able to stay at. But 5 days later, a man that Robert used to work for came to him and offered him a new house that had just been built, I hate to say it, for his ex-wife, but she took off and said she didn't want to live there anymore, so he was gonna put it on the market. And he offered it to Alicia and Robert and family for a year without any strings attached. So that's lifted a great burden from them, and there is hope, even though they lost so much. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yep, thanks for sharing.
We've got about 10 minutes. We've got about 10 minutes left. Jeff and I wanted to throw out a couple of things for discussion also. One was that people say they are reducing their news consumption, and that is helping. So if you don't want to be frustrated, don't watch a channel that frustrates you. Anybody doing that? Anybody want to share quite a few? Yes, you are reducing the amount of time because it's every day there are so many things more, it seems, going on, new programs, new things that are challenged.
Scare of the week.
The scare of the week, Steve calls it. Yes. Yes. Jim, go ahead. Put the microphone back to him, please, Carol.
We just suggest that we all try to reach out and visit our shut-ins and the caregivers.
Good. Okay. Also, Christine, and then I'll do a comment about perspective.
I want to just say something about the news. I've even written, and it doesn't seem to do any good. Because there's ratings, it seems like they always want to, have, make us all angry or upset. But, I made the suggestion that at least give 15 minutes of their hour to something good that's happening because people are doing all kinds of good things, but no, they have to have, everything negative. And so if the media does it to us too, that, there could be so many good things that they could also report on that are very important, but then they don't because they're worried about ratings. I grew up with Walter Cronkite, I'm kind of used to that, the news, but that would be something that if we could get the media to then change and also include, some good thing in their hour, it might help us be more optimistic.
That's really a good point. It's not just the government actions, it's the way the media is covering it. It fuels the frustration. Yeah, in fact, I was thinking that last night when I was watching, or a couple nights ago, watching like the NBC News, the network news. The average story on there is about 5 seconds. And it's like, there's a fire on an airplane, and then there's
Time is drug ads.
and it's one thing after another, and they just give you these quick hits about the most dramatic things, and they stir you up and frustrate you, and then they just move on to the next thing. And so really, the network news is not a good place really to get news to understand what is going on. You gotta go to BBC and others for more in-depth, real understanding.
But at the tail end of the broadcast, they always have something good.
Does something good every day.
David Muir does something good, a positive.
One of the channels on Friday, every week on Friday, the last story is something good that happened this week.
Yeah, that's good.
That's NBC. On
I think it's NBC.
On Saturday.
Saturday. Oh, it's Saturday.
Yeah, Jose, I forget his last name. He always does.
And Kyle Clark on Channel 9 does a good job of really explaining on issues.
Rest of the news is
of Denver.
drug ads.
And
Dave Polaris.
Yeah. Who had a comment here too, Frank?
I'm kind of pleased with this. I'm kind of pleased with this crowd that I have not heard anything about the Broncos yet, and I'd like to say that. So, thank you all.
Frustration from the Broncos? Oh my God.
Or the Rockies. Thank you.
Well, the Rockies, that's.
Sports frustration, a whole other topic. Yeah. Gene.
Jeff, you can't resist asking this question. You strike me as a positive person. What do you attribute this to? Genetics, family background, church, faith? You care to
Why
share
is
with
Jeff
us?
a positive person?
Or nurture.
My mother used to say, everybody likes Jeff. And so I have I say this semi-lightly, but it creates a psychological state where you are seeking approval too much. And I honestly think some of it comes from this desire to seek approval. So now I'm getting into therapy a little bit, but it's okay, we can share with each other about this stuff. But I do think there's a lot of good going on in the world, and I try to focus on that. And I always think one of the good things that one can do is be positive. So I actually worked downtown and I regularly said hello and spoke about the weather or the heat with some folks experiencing homelessness who were on the street. And I didn't walk past them and ignore them. I said, hey, how's it going today? And we sometimes could have a conversation, sometimes not. Mental health challenges go a lot with homelessness. And so, but I think this idea of being a positive influence is a big driver of my behavior. So.
I've got a comment.
Very good.
Real fast.
Huh?
Don't forget to read your Bible and pray. Your faith is gonna take you a long way in difficult situations.
Frustration, yes, rely on our faith, it's a natural force here in this building. too. I want to ask a quick question of our class psychologist, Dawn Dunner, who is a psychologist by profession. Don, why are people frustrated? Why are some more frustrated than others?
I refuse to comment. I have worked with children.
You work with children, high school.
West side of Chicago for 34 years. I saw the worst kinds of conditions, and kids were surviving, and that was my job to help them survive. So I don't deal with adults.
The kids weren't concerned about politics. They got imagine. One other thing Jeff and I mentioned too, we've just got a few more minutes, about 3 or 4 minutes, that was expectations and perspective. And I was telling Jeff, a lot of us thought when Trump bombed Iran, the nuclear facility, that was going to react, they were going to react with killing people, American soldiers at bases across the Middle East. Maybe Iran allies were going to strike against America, and nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
None, but not as much as we expected. Yes, and so, and then that was kind of glossed over and forgotten. But it showed us that the expectations are not always what we may think may be the worst thing. It doesn't always happen. So keep some perspective on those kind of things too.
I'm tempted to take a survey again on that 1 to 10 scale. I do feel like our spirit is higher now than it was when we started this class today. So, so there's evidence of anything helps. Now, I did hear a call that we should all donate our house for a year to someone to do something good as a kind of a benchmark. But I really think anything good is good. And so I just encourage folks to do that one thing maybe. And it'll help you and it'll help whoever you're helping. So thanks for listening to me.
Great discussion, and it helps to come and share among ourselves here too.
Yeah.
We have a good thing going here that helps. Next week, Ron Puning is going to discuss what makes a good society. That will be good. How much should government be involved? How much should private industry do? So thank you all. If you would, chairs, take your chairs outside, fold up the chairs and take them out in the hall. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Zoomers. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Dad.
Yeah.